So now what you see on the screen is the premillennial timeline. According to premillennial eschatology, the premillennial eschatology follows the sequence of visions seen from Revelation 19, which is the second coming, the binding of Satan, Revelation 20, the resurrection of the martyrs, first resurrection, and the second death has no power over the first, those who take part in the first resurrection, and those who were resurrected will reign with him for 1,000 years. Then the rest, when the 1,000 years is finished, the rest of the dead came to life. They were judged, and death and Hades was sent to the lake of fire. And this final rebellion of Satan also sent to the lake of fire. So there is a progression of revelation, even in the book of Revelation. Satan in chapter 12 lost his place in heaven, so earthbound na siya. And then dito sa second coming, he was sent further down the abyss, locked, sealed, and chained. And then when he was released, finally he was defeated and then sent to the lake of fire. So hindi siya pwedeng yung katulad ng sinasabi nila some storms na millennialism hermeneutics, kung saan they are saying that this recapitulation daw yung chapter 19 and 20, 19 dun sa yung Armageddon sa Gog and Magog. Kasi if you follow the sequence or the natural flow ng narrative sa Revelation, meron talagang progression. Satan, earthbound, abyss, and then bound for 1,000 years, released, and then sent to the lake of fire. Kaya ito yung premillennial eschatology is more close to literal interpretation. Although some premillennialists, they say these are symbols, they are symbolic, but their relationship, the relationship of the symbols with each other are to be respected. Kaya kahit dito, some premillennialists say this is a literal interpretation. Other premillennialists say this is symbolic of a very long period. Just like a millennialist, who says that 1,000 years is a symbol for a very long period. But the Great Tribulation it happens before the second coming. Ito yung futurist eschatology. They see the futurist eschatology sees the end times, which includes the Great Tribulation, second coming, and the millennial kingdom to be future. Futurist po ang eschatology na to. And there is a explicit passage in Hebrews 9 that is close to saying na merong second coming, which says he will appear a second time, not to bear sin, but to bring salvation to those who are waiting for him. Since the mga Jews, they don't have the New Testament, they don't believe in the New Testament, they're expecting the first coming. But since we have the Old Testament and the New Testament, we understand that he already came and then he will come again. Yun po yung premillennial hermeneutics. Meron siyang progressive revelation. The prophecies are compressed, so you have to rely on other supplementary prophecies to complement, to supplement yung information dun sa previous prophecy. So we know that if you're a premillennialist, you know that this period is extended. So we know for a fact na we're almost 2,000 years since Jesus came to minister on earth, and the Great Tribulation has not yet happened. Hindi pa siya nangyayari. There was a question in Matthew 24. May question doon ang mga disciples, no? May laman na tatlong tanong yung question na yon ng mga disciples. Sabi nila, when will this happen? Referring to the destruction of the temple. What will be the sign of your coming? Ano daw yung sign ng second coming? And the end of the age or end of the world. Ano daw yung sign ng end of the world? So these are three questions in one question. So then Jesus started to explain that there will be wars and rumors of wars, famines, and in earthquakes in various places. But don't fear not. This is just the beginning of pains. The end is not yet. So ito raw yung mga mangyayari. And then this gospel of the kingdom will be preached. And then the end shall come. So if by looking at history and where we are, we know that this is happening now. There are wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, famines in various places, and we know that the gospel already is preached and being preached. So the end is imminent. No? Malapit na yung end. And then sabi pa sa Matthew 24, sa Matthew 24, therefore when you see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. For then there will be a great tribulation, such as has not been seen since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. Yan sa Matthew 24 verse 15 to 21. So dito papasok yung Daniel 77. Bakit sinabi ni Jesus na ito'y magiging hudyat ng Great Tribulation? Yung prophecy ni Daniel, the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet. Ito daw yung magiging hudyat. For then, when you see this, then there will be great tribulation. In the Greek, they say it's pronounced lipsis, not lipsis, the great tribulation. For premillennialists, this is future. Whoever, the generation of believers who sees this abomination of desolation in the temple, standing where it should not be, which is in the temple, then there will be great tribulation. And we know itong story ni yung prophecy ni Daniel na to, scholars, especially Jewish scholars and some Christian scholars, they believe that it happened during the Greek Jewish war, no, in the 2nd century BC. So it's like Jesus is saying, when that thing happened again, yung prophecy ni Daniel na yon, when you see that happening, then that will be the start of the Great Tribulation. And something similar has not happened since Jesus prophesied that. And that's another reason, another argument for the premillennialist to put the Great Tribulation in the future. And then another interesting statement dun sa Matthew 24 prophecy ni Lord ay yung second coming is tied immediately dun sa end ng tribulation. Sabi dito, immediately after the eclipses, again, eclipses translated as distress in the New International Version, tribulation ito sa New King James at King James, but they have the same Greek word, eclipses. Immediately after the distress of those days, diba? Dito magsimula yung Great Tribulation kapag nakita yung abomination of desolation. Pero itong sign of the Son of Man appearing in the sky is tied immediately after that tribulation. Kaya you cannot separate these two, second coming and the Great Tribulation. Yan ang model ng premill eschatology. Right? Now, going to Daniel 77s, hango yun sa Daniel 9:27. Now, dun sa Daniel 9:27 na yan, ang prophecy ni Daniel, someone, he, will confirm a covenant with many for 1/7. And in the middle of the 7, no, which is 3.5, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering. And on a wing of the temple, he will set up an abomination that causes desolation, until the end that is decreed is poured out on him. No, magse-set up siya dun sa temple ng Abomination, and makaset up yun dun until his end happens, no? Decree na mamatay siya or mapatay siya or matalo siya or whatever that decree means. So dyan galing itong Abomination of Desolation na yan. So for a premill eschatology, we are here, no? They are here. They believe, seeing it, Great Tribulation, Second Coming, and all these things happening in the future. But some Christians see the Great Tribulation to have already happened in the past. Noong AD 70, when Rome destroyed the temple. The temple was destroyed in AD 70. They see that that was the Great Tribulation. That's how they saw the Great Tribulation. So they see it in the past. Eto sila. They see the Great Tribulation already happened in the past. So, ang tawag sa ganong eschatology is preterism. According to R.C. Sproul, preterism is an eschatological viewpoint that places many or all eschatological events in the past, especially during the destruction of Jerusalem. No, kapag all ng eschatological events nilagay mo rito, ang tawag doon, full preterist. Kapag part lang nilagay mo rito is partial preterist. So for those Christians who believe that the Great Tribulation happened in the past but the second coming is still future, they are called partial preterist. Yung part ng eschatology event happened in the past, most are still waiting to be fulfilled in the future. Ang tawag sa kanila doon, partial preterist. Now, going back dun sa Daniel, prophecy ni Daniel, abomination that causes desolation, isa sa mga students ng prophecy itong si father of modern physics, si Isaac Newton. Aside from studying physics, he also devoted his time studying prophecy, especially the prophecy of Daniel. At base dun sa sinabi ni Newton, you will find it quoted here in this book, The Handwriting on the Wall by Dr. David Jeremiah. Sinabi doon ni Isaac Newton, referring to Daniel's prophecy in chapter 9, sabi ni Newton, we could stake the truth of Christianity on this prophecy alone. So ganun siya confident dun sa veracity, dun sa truthfulness, sa fulfillment ng Daniel chapter 9. Now, unfortunately, some Christians have other things in mind, so they have some creative imagination. They see Daniel's prophecy to be referring to the Philippines, which is absurd. No? One example is this intercessors for the Philippines. No, na-invento nila because of their creative imagination. They said that since Magellan landed in Cebu and planted across there Roman Catholic cross, an idolatrous cross, and then in March 16, 2010, after 490 years, which is 70 times 7 or 77 in Daniel, is the beginning, at the end and the beginning of the 490 years since the cross was planted in our shores. The season of travail comes to a close, the Jubilee begins. So, freed na daw ang Philippines sa travail on March 16, 2020 because na-reach na nila yung Jubilee starting from when the Roman Catholic idol cross was planted in the Philippines. So this is one example of how ignorance of eschatology can lead people to error, to even a lie. It's a lie. Daniel's prophecy is not about the Philippines. It's something else. No? It's something else.